Can you believe it? Let's just see if that goes live. It is working. So,
Where are you?
I'm in Dublin.
Oh,
It's,
Hello,
it's,
hello.
hi,
how are you?
good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Great. Have we met before, Lindy? No.
I've met you at the foundation. Rian introduced me to you there.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome. Well, meet Emma. Emma, meet
Hi.
Lindy.
Hi, Emma.
Hello.
I don't know,
Oh,
I'm not able to see anyone on my screen besides
okay.
you.
Just swipe to the right. It's like Tinder. Not that I've ever been on Tinder.
Oh, there we go. Thank
Yeah?
you. Bye.
Okay, cool. Okay, great. All right. So Emma, I'm going to leave it to you. People will come in, you'll hear the doorbell, and then you
Yeah.
just admit people. Do you know how to do that?
I'm pretty sure I'll figure it out.
Good for you. All right. So Lindy, just to know that this meeting is being recorded. If at any time you want the recording deleted or anything, just let me know, and then that will happen. I have to go enter a conference though. Let's
Okay.
see if. Oh, Emma, you're a rock star.
I
All right.
know, I know.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hey guys.
Morning.
Hello.
We'll give,
I'm not actually feeling that great, so I might drop off. I'm just gonna see how I feel.
yeah,
How are you
give it,
guys?
we'll give it a couple of minutes for see if anybody else joins, and then we'll go from there.
All right, cool.
Actually, should we start the check-in?
Okay.
It's early.
Can I check in?
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna check in contract. So we all know the check-in, we all know the contract. So who would like to start the check-in?
I'll check in a little bit rusty.
Like tag someone.
Yourself.
So I'm checking in. As usual, David throws me in the mix, but that's fine. I think sometimes that's the best way to do it. But yeah, and I will tag Anthony.
Thank you. I'm feeling quite grounded. I've just got a stinking cold. Um, but other than that, I'm feeling all right. Thank you. I will tag Trevin.
So I'm checking in calm and looking forward to the year. I will tag Haley.
Hi, I'm checking in. Happy, although a little bit frazzled because I'm at work and just had a bunch of stuff just happen just then. But I'm very glad I could make it. I can't see who else is in the session.
If you swipe sideways, oh, you can't do that if you're on your laptop.
No, I've got it. I will tag. Oh, Lindy, has she been?
Yeah, everybody's checked in.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm frazzled. See, all
That's
right.
okay. So we're gonna set the contract. Is everybody okay to have a break about 10 to 11, and then we'll have 10-minute break, 5-minute break, 5 to 11? Is everybody in agreement? Yep. I'm assuming that's a yes. Oh, he's Aurora. Morning, Aurora. We're just checking in. Would you like to check in?
Yeah, sorry, I could not find the link in my email. I was like, I had it under coaching. I thought it was training. I'm checking in okay. The weather's really, really cold, and I think I'm a little sick again, but I'm feeling good. And yeah, just ready for the day. So thank you.
Aurora. So we've agreed in contract to have a break at 5 to 11 for 5 minutes. Are you in agreement? So who wants to set the agenda? Would anybody like to set the agenda? So where are we at as coaches?
Say again, Emma, sorry.
Where are we at as coaches?
In what sense?
In how do you feel it's applying to your daily life and work? Are you managing to apply it? Are you managing to withhold it?
I would say I've just done some, the stuff from training with yourself and David was very helpful just 10 minutes ago. And especially the process of the validation and helping someone to find their own solutions kind of thing. I found it really helpful, to be honest. So I am very happy with where I am as coaches right now.
And how do you incorporate in your day life? How do you incorporate within your clients? How do you meet them where they're at? Is it helpful in that sense?
I would say absolutely, especially meeting where they're at. Here we've got like a range of, everybody's individual needs are different, and especially because I work at the women's rehab, so everybody knows. Especially in a period where you may not be as well as normal, such as when people are accessing here. So meeting people where they're at is essential, really. So the coaching really, really helps to bring the women here to their own sort of conclusions about what support works best for them and how to get the best out of themselves. So yeah, it's very, very helpful.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I think for me, I'm not working in that space currently, but I work in the tech industry and I help tech founders grow their business and get investment. And so I think the coaching helps when I am meeting with those tech founders and asking, I'm a consultant or a freelancer. And so it's kind of like, asking them what they're looking for and where they want to go. So it does help. I haven't been working for a while, so getting back into it, asking the open-ended questions has coming into like in a bit of a coaching role, you know. But yes, I hope to transition to doing some more coaching, and I guess I live in the countryside. My struggle is that I'm struggling to find people to get those one-on-one coaching hours to get the certification. Um, but I'll get there. So as a coach, that's my coaching on a daily basis is quite limited at the minute, you know.
Well, I wouldn't say it was limited because even with the tech industry, it doesn't matter what you're in, what you do. It's always a aspect of that approach comes into it because you're still meeting people where they're at. It's still a systemic approach. You've still got everything to consider, not just that you work in tech.
Yeah,
It's not as
yeah,
simple as just turning on your computer and knowing what to do.
yeah. And
And
it's like, we're helping founders get to their future vision. I think one of the things that I had discussed with David is that once I qualify, because I've worked in the tech space for so long, it's like I offer recovery coaching for burnout, executive burnout in the tech space. So there is method behind the madness.
so there is. So as coaches, what sort of questions do we ask? As in, to help somebody to walk them through that journey of getting where it is they want to be. Because it's not our journey, it's not our dream, is it? So as coaches, it's our job to find that systemic approach in collaboration with conversation to help them find their the barriers. So everybody's individual, and to help somebody find their barriers is how can we do that? Do we without telling them?
I say things like, so say I've got someone with maybe I'll just use this morning. So someone whose emotions were quite dysregulated. I ask, what can I do to help you feel more regulated? What can I do right now in this moment that is going to help you feel better? So they're empowered to make the choice themselves and the responsibility is theirs. But I can help and assist with that. So that's the type of thing that I just used anyway.
Mhm.
Things like how important something is to a person. I do apologize, Emma. It's quite hard for me. I've got lots of things that have just happened, so I'm trying to get back on track in my brain. So yeah, listen, validate, and really get the person to be the expert on their own behaviors and what their needs are. And then I can assist with what their needs are as dictated by them.
Thank you. Anybody else relate to that?
Yeah, I think like the open-ended question thing has been like revolutionary for me, honestly, because I not that I like never asked them, but like I just never really thought to ask them. And then like being aware of it, I realized like a lot of the questions I was asking could have been like answered with like a yes or a no, like, and so reframing it as like it's helped me a lot in my personal life. Like when I'm speaking to my friends, like if they're struggling, like I can just kind of be well, like what do you want like right now? Like what's going on for you like right now? Like where are you feeling that like in your body? Like it's just kind of like guiding them through what they're already going through. But then like I think sometimes it's really helpful for like people's thoughts to kind of like come to fruition and just like be out in the open. And then you're not even like doing anything, but like the fact that they've now said it out loud makes it real. And then they can kind of like formulate like a plan and you can like be there with them through that. But yeah, it's been very, very helpful for me as well.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say something there, Anthony.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I think in my work, that's what I do. I would work with a founder to see where they want to go, and then I'd help them put the systems in place based on what their goals were and their vision for their business.
So how would you navigate that if they didn't know what their goals were? If they had an end idea, but you know.
So most of the companies that I work with have the same goal and direction. They all want to, all want to get funded by investors so they can grow their idea. And most CEOs, want to change the world in some way. It's quite egotistical in ways. So it's a similar pattern, I guess. And that's why I do it as a consultant, because if it has the same, I focus on a certain revenue pattern. And so I basically have a IKEA set of systems that is essentially a flat pack, but can be quickly adjusted to suit whichever company based on their needs, I guess. You know, they all want to, yeah, what I was saying, they all have the same path. They all want to get funded, have the money to grow their business and get their idea into the world, and then ultimately they want to sell their business and do another one.
But there's a lot of different paths at different levels, at different heights, at different speeds that these need to go. And I personally, I think that's the same with individuals. It's the same with myself. Coaching, I don't see as just a one-way thing. I learn from my community as well,
Mm.
because every situation's individual, and I learn from them as I go. So I don't think you get any situation that's the same, is it?
No.
But I think with the set framework of coaching, I think any situation we can handle. You know, is anybody coming into any situations where they think they might not be able to handle it?
I mean, like when someone really doesn't want help, like that's hard. Like we had a really rough day here yesterday with someone who had come in and they were definitely experiencing like volatile emotions, like is like they have mental health issues as well as like struggling with addiction. But we're not like a mental health service, but the person wanted to be here because they felt like safe and comfortable, I guess, which was amazing. But at the same time, quite stressful because we couldn't really do anything. And as much as we tried to make sure it didn't like escalate, it did. And the person just didn't want to talk and was like asking for help. But then we were offering help and they didn't take the help. So then it was like, it was just really difficult. And like the
That
police,
sounds difficult, Aurora. That sounds really hard.
yeah, like the police had to get involved and everything. And this was like a client that, like, or community member that like I really like and everything. So it was just hard. But yeah, if someone's like not willing to like talk or get to that next stage, then and it really is, I don't think anything you can do. Like I feel like we did exhaust all of our efforts there yesterday, but it was just that person wanted to be like that day. It's just difficult to like see it happen.
I've come across a similar thing as well, like historically. Like I've had in my previous caseload in Australia, someone who was dual diagnosis, but just was entirely not. I was looking at myself completely like, what am I doing? Is it this method? Like, just, everything that you can about yourself to try, and it still wasn't working. And I had a supervisor at the time who was still kind of like, well, have you done this? Have you done that? I'd done everything, and it was still met with like, it's a KPI to me. I get that the system is like, we need to do as much as possible, but in the interest of being completely transparent, I felt I had done everything I possibly could, and this person did not want to engage with me.
Yeah.
So it is very difficult and he was lovely, but it was just not happening. So I really feel some kinship in that, to be honest, Aurora.
And it's difficult because it's not that I don't think he's like a lost I don't think that in the slightest. I think that like what we have to offer is not enough. In terms of like, I believe he needs like therapy, probably medication management as well. But I'm not a doctor and I cannot like signpost that. And like, he is a grown man, so he would have to go seek that out as well. Like we can give like verbal referrals and say like, I believe that you would benefit from this. But if someone doesn't go and do that, then it is like a little heartbreaking
100%, 100%. This young man was like, he needed far more than I could give him. It was it
Yeah.
was the same kind of thing. Like, it needed serious medical help
Yeah.
along with a million other things. So that, yeah, it's really difficult when it's like that.
I
It's
think
hard.
also the system, like within like this country as well, it does make it like quite difficult for those people to receive help immediately, especially when it's like a crisis or on teetering on the way to a crisis. It does take quite a while to receive support, especially if there's no actual diagnosis in place. Then it's just like it's just
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
But
What was your internal feeling about that situation?
I felt really, really on edge, honestly. Like I just felt quite uneasy. Like with like the unpredictability kind of on the line. Like I didn't know where it was gonna go. Like my fingers were crossed that it would kind of fizzle out and maybe he'd be a bit more grounded after having some space and all this stuff. But yeah, I was just really like anxious, honestly. Because no one wants to see anyone like in pain and hurting. Like not for
Mhm.
any selfish reasons, but like you do not want that person to be experiencing those type of feelings. It's hard. It's hard to see, especially when I have like a prior like bond
Yeah.
with this person. So I felt like stressed and I felt like a little bit helpless. And then Katie, like my boss was like doing a lot of the heavy lifting, like emotionally. And so then I was concerned for her because I was like, how the hell did you just spend like these 8 hours, like, you know, kind of carrying this? And I texted her after work and everything. And so just quite on edge, I guess.
Did you feel like, because in situations like that, I feel like from what I'm hearing, and I hear you, is that you listened. And as coaches, we need to listen.
Yeah.
Despite the situation, you still listened. You still took on board what he said.
Mhm.
You still took on board his situation and tried to do with the best you could,
Yeah.
every aspect. So as a coach, do you feel like you fulfilled your coaching requirements?
I mean, yeah, like I cannot force someone to talk, nor would I want to. But like I made it clear multiple times that like I am here if he would like to, or if he just wanted to pull up a chair and sit next to me, like whatever it was. So I did give him a couple options and like yeah, I feel like I did what I could in that moment. Um, but yeah, I can't like force someone to do something even though I know it's good for them.
Because what would forcing them be?
Like being like no, like sit like I don't know, being assertive. I'm not an assertive person in that sense. Like I you can't like push him to a chair and be like speak. I would do that with some of my friends, but like, depends. Can't do that at work.
Yeah, if we were forcing people, we wouldn't be coming down to their level. We wouldn't be letting them make the decisions, would we? Because
No.
it is their lives and it is their journey, and it has to be their decision. And as coaches, I personally, I love it when people come to that conclusion themselves. That, oh, hang on a minute, I do have options, and this is how it can go. But as coaches, we have to. It's part of our role is to get them to realise their own potential.
Yeah.
And possibly barriers that may be standing in that way, maybe helping them realise.
Yeah.
So can anybody else relate to Aurora's story? I know, Hayley, you said you could. So could you have done anything different in that situation, Hayley? Or do you feel like
It was quite a long time ago now, but like it's always like stuck with me. Because I did, like, when Aurora she felt helpless, I felt helpless, and I felt at the time like I felt like I wasn't good at what I was doing you know, my colleagues were reinforcing that I was, and I was doing everything, but I didn't feel like that. I felt like, yeah, like a bit like I'd failed this person, but I'd spent so much time with them, trying. So looking back, maybe through different eyes, I do feel like when I look at my younger self doing that, I did try as hard as I could, you know, I really did. And I did spend time with him, and I did know what he liked and didn't like to an extent, at least. So, I mean, I hope I did. I don't know if I'm still stuck in that brain a little bit when I think of the memory. I'm not sure.
So what's coming up for you right now when you remember, when you go back and you think about that?
Yeah, some frustration, some helplessness, anxiety when I go back and think about it. But also, there's definitely a part of me now that recognises, if I had a staff member now who was doing all that stuff, I certainly would be saying, yes, you are doing what you need to. Because I was there with him hours and hours on the daily, you know, trying to encourage engagement. So yeah, I suppose, yeah, I think I did well, but I still feel those feelings. I
You're
think.
human.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
human and you care.
Very much.
So as coaches, what is our role? Because are we limited? Is our role?
Yes, we're limited. We are limited to the client's wants. In that regard, if a client does not want something from me, I cannot force that client to take it. I suppose is that a limitation?
So what is that on the client's side?
Boundary?
Boundary.
Yeah, but knowing boundaries is a good thing, isn't it? Knowing a client's boundaries is great. Oh, do you know what, Emma? I don't know how to answer, because I feel like in some situations then we are limited. But when we talk about knowing boundaries, that's not being limited. That's making a really good, effective, you know, person-centered plan. Oh, I don't know. Ask someone else.
So what do we need? It's a two-way street, isn't it? Coaching.
Yeah.
What are we trying to get the client the community member to do, and how does it
I'm
work?
so sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
How does that work both ways with the clients? You know, the both sides.
Well, aren't we trying to move them from a culture of addiction to a culture of wellness and recovery
And what
and
does that
build
take for
recovery
the
capital?
client to?
Pardon?
What do we need from the client for that to happen?
Willingness and a desire, I think.
Honesty, openness.
Accountability.
Yeah, I guess that's part of the 3 years. Oh, sorry, I'm really not.
So when we're trying to, as frustrating as it is, when we're trying to get a client to a culture of recovery from a culture of addiction, it's a pattern of behaviours that need to work, I don't like to say the word need. We're trying to get that person to realise their barriers, realise their behaviours, realise themselves, because it's their journey, it's their life, what their barriers are. And how do we do that if the client's not willing to engage?
I think the thing that we can do sometimes is just to ask the powerful questions and hold the space. And then see where it goes from there. Just try and keep it as positive as possible with no negativity. Yeah, and just be there. Just let them know that you are there, no matter what, and anytime. So, yeah.
I feel like as a coach, it's always about, for me, personally, it's about perseverance. So when that client's not ready, I'll wait until they are ready, until they're ready to come to me, as well as I'll keep the door open for the client. But inevitably, it's got to be their decision. And then I'll always walk that journey with that person, whether it be in a month, whether it be in 2, whether it be right away. What can we work on with that client in the meantime until they are ready?
I think that for me anyway, I think that it's about supporting the client, but figuring out what support means to that client. Because what I find is that I get into a space where I want to support the client from what I believe support is for that client. And then I get frustrated. But if you can sit with the client and figure out what support looks like for them, it becomes a lot easier, because even if they're not in a space where they're ready to stop their, well, not stop, but start to work on the addiction or move from that space of addiction to wellness, there's other things that can be done to support them where they are. And if you can do that and meet them where they are, then you can still support them until they're ready to move to a state of wellness. But you have to figure out what that support looks like for them, and not get wrapped up in what it looks like for you.
Thank you, Jermaine.
And then sometimes I think to have a client sit with or sit in that space where it can be uncomfortable, it might be important to let them feel that, and do some exercises with them and just have them familiarize themselves with that feeling, but not acting upon it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I really agree with that. I feel like a lot of the times when people are hesitant to accept help, like, or are hesitant to like begin the work, because it is really difficult to like make those first couple steps and say like, oh, I need help, or oh, I'm gonna like work on this. Like, it is way easier said than done. So I think like creating a space where you're not forcing the person to do that right away, and you give them that space to feel their emotions, you give them that space to be themselves, and you're not looking at them from the lens of, oh, like, you need help, I'm here to help you, why are you not like giving them, like, going at their time frame basically is like super beneficial. And I feel like a lot of the times with people who use substances, I know, like, at least for myself, I was using a lot to like avoid my emotions. So I'd never really sat with them or felt them or validated them, because I was so used to like not feeling any of them. Like, I was just like, I'm turning off. So the second that I did feel any emotion, even if it was positive or negative, was extremely overwhelming for me. When someone who maybe hasn't gone through that would see that as like, okay, like, you're feeling something, and they might think it's valid, but like the community member may not. So yeah, I think that was like, yeah, just really important, like creating that space for them to kind of like come to you. And like, this just popped in my head, but like, Anthony, like you said, you're like struggling with finding someone to coach. Is that like because there's just not many people where you live, or do you feel like it's hard to find someone who's like, oh, I would like to be coached? Does that make sense?
Excuse me. Yes, I live in a little place in Somerset,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's not a lot of I go to 12-step meetings, but not everyone's willing or open to being coached. And there's not really any Leros or anything that isn't. I've reached out to there's a big rehab up the road, that asking if I can volunteer, and they said no. So it's just finding it. I had a chat with Leanne last week about a potential path forward. And so like people who I've asked have been like, oh yeah, I can be coached, and then they just keep cancelling and cancelling, cancelling,
Yeah.
and then they just give up.
Yes.
So it's quite tricky.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a way, I just
Yeah.
can't think of it today because I feel terrible.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I'm actually in the exact same situation. Also, living in a small town, not a lot of people interested. And when they do want to be coached, like he says, they cancel on you. So when I finish this course, I would want to. I'm not very up to date with online therapy and all that. So I think I would probably have to do a lot of marketing just to get into the game. At the moment, it just feels like it's not going anywhere, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. I don't use any social media, so I don't know what I'm gonna do on that front. I've just logged on to LinkedIn for the first time in however long, and it just feels like Facebook now.
Yeah.
Um, I guess one thing that I think when we were on the call before Christmas and Claire came on from, is it Kennedy Street? I've set up a call with Claire next week to discuss things as well. So I think that would be helpful. And David's been great as well.
Yeah, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah. And I think that's a longer term. I think that's why looking for clients in the space that I'm already in and have lots of contacts in, and focusing on tech burnout as an option in the short term so that I can build a practice. And then, you know, one of the things that I'm going to discuss with Claire next week is setting up a Lero close to where we are, because there is high addiction levels in the surround, in Glastonbury, in Yeovil, but there's not a lot going on, to help those guys. I think longer term, that's one thing that I'm going to discuss with Claire next week.
I'm really sorry, Emma. I'm gonna have to go. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
It's so frustrating because I work like days, 5 days a week, and I always miss these. I can't. I'm sorry. I'll message. I'm apologizing, guys.
Bye,
Yeah.
Henry.
Bye.
So you say you live in so on a tech and a business mindset. What could you do to improve that? Is there anything you could do that could benefit you, that you might be
In,
stepping out your comfort zone, but you maybe need to try? Or
in the text verse.
yeah, text first.
Um, so I know how in the a lot because a lot of the companies have based their work ethic around Silicon Valley and all of, like where Facebook and those companies were set up, and the work, people just work constantly around the clock. No one, it's work hard, play hard, you know, there's, I imagine there's lots of addiction. Like when I was younger, the startups that I worked in had bars in the office, and so you could just drink constantly. Well, after a certain time in the day. Um, and it's just accepted as part of, you're on site, you can hop on a call anytime. They do what they can to keep you at work. Um, and so there is a lot of burnout. I struggled. I had quite a few breakdowns, and I was using a lot to get through it, using in secret and lying to people and not showing up for work. I think yeah, so I do feel, there's things that I can do in that space. And, there are other coaches out there, but I think I do think it's a big thing in that space that isn't talked about enough.
So what do you think could be is a real issue? What was it an issue for you with your using your lived experience? What was a real issue with you that you could bring to the table that's different?
An issue with the way that
Like
I work.
how you found it difficult and what led to your
I think what I've learned now is, those codependent traits and people pleasing. It's like, oh, there's a call in Australia at 1 a.m. and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll just set an alarm and get out of bed and hop on this call, not even thinking about myself or what I needed, it was kind of, uh, you know, uh, it's just a crazy, crazy thing to be in. Um, and yeah, those patterns just continued the whole way. And then I was drinking more and more and using more and more drugs. And yeah, so I
do you,
what
with what sorry, with what you've just said, do you see a focus right there?
yeah, I think creating a better work-life balance for employees in that environment.
Starting is would you have a start point? Can you think of a start point? Like
Um,
where do you think it gets I'm trying to offer up.
well, I think the starting point is asking people how they're feeling in that environment at present and how it's affecting, their life outside of work because it tends to become all consuming.
So what I'm hearing from that is how it's affecting the life in work and out work,
Yeah.
finding that balance.
Yeah, and how they would like to have a better balance moving forward.
And also how that what that looks like. Like what would that look like to you?
Um, what would that look like to me? You know, leaving your laptop at work some days, not having your work emails on your phone, or having a separate phone. I think, you know, having social activities outside of the work environment. Um, there'll be a quiz, or there'll be a table tennis tournament, or there'll be free pizza in the office, and the companies do these things just to keep you on site so that you're on hand. And I think you need to know your worth, and you're very disposable to those companies. They make you believe that you're, a big chess piece and you're very valuable. But for those companies, I think like 95% of them run out of money and fail. And so when it comes to chopping the numbers of employees down, they're very quick to do it. They draw you in and make you feel part of something, and then it can be gone very quickly. And I think people need to understand their worth in that space.
So what did everybody hear from that conversation just then? If I was to ask it, if I was to say to Anthony, if he had pen to paper now, what would be its bullet points for that
Compassion,
conversation?
a lot of compassion and empathy towards healthy work environments.
Yeah, like a very big like understanding of how that can be not beneficial and how it can lead to like unhealthy coping mechanisms. Um, yeah, with like lived experience, like in not just like addiction, but like having like a not a toxic work environment, but understanding how a work environment can be like I don't know, not unhealthy, but they do use like psychological, like proven psychological things to like keep people at work. And yeah, I had like a little idea as well. Like, I don't know, this is just it popped into my head, but like, is there any way that you could like contact the startup that you've either already worked with, or that you know someone in there, and maybe like ask them if you could come in and just speak to a couple of people if anyone's interested? And that, I don't know if that would be able to count towards coaching hours, but like, you have an understanding of this and you could pose it as like you just kind of like want to get some information and like feelers out there,
Yeah, I
and
think
it would
that's
be
a
free
good.
to them, and they could probably, does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, I could actually do that. That's a good idea. Thanks,
Thank you.
Aurora.
I was like, like, because then you'd be kind of offering them like free coaching, but then you would benefit from having the hours, and you could also put feelers out there in terms of what do these companies look for in terms of offering that coaching support. Because then again, it does tie into their psychological benefit, right? If they feel like they're supporting their employees, then the employees will
Yeah,
feel more motivated to work better and work on themselves and all that fun
yeah,
stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, just an idea.
yeah. That's good. Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you.
Hmm.
I
I
hear
wasn't
about
trying
I
to
hear
frat.
about
I
it.
wasn't trying to frat, but like,
Sometimes it benefits us. Don't tell
yeah.
David I said that, although you'll hear it on the transcript. But see, I've just seen two coaches coaching each other.
Yeah.
And I think you're seeing each other's potential, which is what we do as coaches. You're seeing each other's ideas and barriers, and you didn't tell the person what to do, but
Mhm.
it was a guidance.
Yeah.
And did you even know you were doing that? All of you.
Not particularly. I just had an idea.
We have coaches.
Yeah.
So yeah, so do you think you can flow with that idea, Anthony?
Yeah, I can do that. And I think one of the things, I'm a sound healing therapist as well, so I can maybe chuck in a sound bath for the team to get that over the line.
Absolutely.
I see that smile on his face. Trevine, is that? I'm really sorry. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Trevin.
Trevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trevin. Sorry, I just want to clarify that. I know you've been to university and you've done your psychology degree, am I right?
Yeah.
So from the situation that Aurora was explaining about what went on in the office yesterday, how does that, from a psychologist's point of view, how would that be dealt with within your world and the coaching?
I noticed that there's a stark contrast between coaching and, as it were, counseling or that sort of thing. Because in the counseling space, you would start to tell the client what they need to do,
Mhm.
right? And you would help them set up what they need to do in order to get where they need to be. Whereas in the coaching space, it tends to be more open. What does a client need? And how can I support the client where they're at by asking these curiosity questions that drive thought? And so it's a little less, I want to say organized, because in the counseling space, you take charge. As a therapist or whatever, you take charge. But in the coaching space, you have to allow the client to take charge rather than yourself.
How are you finding that?
It's it's different, and I'm trying to at the same time figure out how those two spheres of knowledge can be put together, because and work with them both efficiently. Because it's like, especially when I find myself in coaching situations, I have to kind of also be aware and unteach myself certain things that I was taught in action in order to actually coach and not counsel. So yeah, it's a challenge. It's an uphill battle.
I can imagine.
I relate. Like, I didn't finish my psychology degree, but like, it's like something I'm very, very interested in, right? And I've been like on the other side of things for a very long time. Like, I've been in therapy for a while. So and I'm doing like a counseling course right now. So I always want to do what I think like a counselor would do, or like anything. Like, I'm always like thinking about like, the dual diagnosis thing. Like, I always kind of go on like a clinical side. And I feel like sometimes that does take away like the individuality of
Yeah.
a person, because like a diagnosis can only tell you so much about a person. And I think with coaching, it's more about like the individual and what they want in that moment. And I feel like with counseling, it's more of like a longer term, like psychological, like understanding of why this person acts this way and how they can further understand, how that affects them in the day-to-day life. And I think coaching is like, I'm not saying it's not deep, but it does not get to that like underneath of the iceberg. It's more like guiding them on top of the water, like the ship is like sailing. And I feel like we're not getting, but that's not our jobs either. Like coaching, you're not a
Yeah.
trauma therapist or anything like that.
The way I see it, and I hear what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
So I've got a diploma in counseling and communication. I'm actually doing my degree this year. But what I find is that the idea with coaching is that it's doing, every once in a while your car goes for service so that everything keeps going as it
Yeah.
should be going. And that's coaching, right? It's servicing the car as it goes along. But if you look at counseling, on the other hand, counseling is the car's broken down.
Yeah.
And now we have to go and figure out why it's not moving. Whereas coaching is, how do I keep this car moving efficiently?
Yeah.
Does it need oil? Does it need petrol? Does it need tires? Whereas your radiator's gone, now it's like, okay, this car's not working. How do we fix it? And
Yeah.
that's how I see it. So sometimes it's also not, I think, with the psychological space being counseling, is that a lot of the time people want to look deeper. What is your childhood trauma?
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that has happened to you that has messed you up so bad that it's causing all this disruption in your life? Whereas coaching is like, what do you have now and where you need to be, and how can we increase what you have now so it gets you to where you need to be? But yeah, that's my 2 cents.
I think finding that balance can be difficult, can't it? It's natural. I feel like it's human nature to want to fix somebody, like to do it for them. But in the long run, how does that benefit somebody? It doesn't. Well, I don't believe it does.
I think both spaces are very important. It's just about knowing when and where to use what and with who.
Yeah.
Because in some spaces, it's the coaching works wonderfully, right? I found that it's actually easier to run a session with asking curiosity questions more than dictating the answers to people. And it works. It's just about understanding that maybe some people do need medication and they do need they need a psychiatrist. And coaching may work for the majority, but there are subsets in the population where they need that deep psychological help. And it's just about not falling into a camp, but knowing what a client needs depending on what they're presenting with.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because it's a fine contrast, isn't it? Where it's like when you were talking about the car, it's like one's the maintenance and one's the mechanic.
There we go. Yeah.
Is that how I heard it right? Did I hear
Yeah.
that correctly? Yeah.
Beautifully said.
Yeah, I totally understand that, and I do agree with that. I do agree with that. Some people need, and like it goes back to people being individual, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's what that person needs.
I think I have to like take my personal experience out of things sometimes as well. Cause like my opinion is that like everyone on this planet would like greatly benefit from digging deep inside themselves and like looking at their life and then like analyzing it and then being like, okay, like I want my life to look like XYZ and then taking steps to change that. But not everyone wants to do it, you know, and like valid. Like sometimes like digging deep is kind of like shitty. But like with my friends, right? Like they're talking, I'm like, you should just like go to therapy, you know, like which it's not everyone's path, and I do need to like remember that that doesn't work for everyone, even though it definitely would. And I think that also with people who are struggling with like abusing substances, in my perspective, that does not just come from a biological standpoint. That does not just come from like someone makes a decision one day. I think it's so like multifaceted on the reasons that it occurs. Like, and I think that everyone would benefit from clinical help in regards to exploring that, but it's not like always an option for people. But yeah, so it is difficult to kind of go from it from a coaching lens when I like know in the bottom of my heart that they would benefit from like having a deeper talk about I just think that knowledge is power, you know, and if you give someone that knowledge and understanding about either themselves or something that could possibly relate to their life, then what they do with that is like their choice. But I still think it's important that they know.
Their options.
Yeah.
It's not. I feel like if even with communication and what we say to people is quite powerful in the sense of us not saying like that's not an option.
Yeah.
Everything's an option. It's your option. You know.
Yeah. Like the world is your oyster. Like you can literally, I tell that to my friends all the time. Like you can really go out and do whatever you want to do. And my friends like, oh, well, I can't just go. Yes, you can. Go do it. Like you have free will. The only thing stopping you is like whatever is telling you that it's impossible. Like,
How could you flip that?
That's a big thing, huh?
How could you flip that though? You've just said the only thing that's stopping you is this. How could you flip that?
In what way?
What's stopping you?
Like
the way
whatever
you just
societal limitations you're thinking of that's telling you that it's going to be too difficult or it's going to be too draining or you're going to face too many barriers that you don't want to work through. When everything in life has barriers, whether they're little ones that you can kind of just step over or massive ones that you have to like run and jump, right? But if it is something that you want to do and you would like to do it, there's no reason for you to say like I can't, unless there's like legal reasons. I'm not, you know, I won't promote that. Like stay safe and stuff, obviously. But like, for example, I moved countries and a lot of my friends from back home are like, how did you do that? Like I would love to just move countries. I'm like, all right, so do it. Like I booked a ticket and I packed a suitcase and I went. And for my brain, it was easy for me to do, but it is difficult for other people to envision the complete change, the adjustment, not having any friends. That was not super fun. But like, I don't know. I don't know how I would flip that. It's difficult to explain.
how you said all you have to do is
do it.
Right, but how would you say that to a community member? All you have to do is.
I mean, like it's easier said than done. Like I probably wouldn't word it just like that. I'm not trying to like make it seem easy, but the bottom line is like it is a step and you either take a step or you don't. Like I don't know. It sounds harsh, but it's just like the reality and whatever you need, whatever support you need to take that step is like it's going to look different for everyone and that's a beautiful thing. But if you want to take it, like you could do it. Like everyone has that in them. I fully believe that.
I love the encouragement.
Yeah.
And
And
I
just
think one thing I was told over and over in treatment is that recovery is an action, it's an action program. So as long as you're taking consistent action, no matter how big or small, you'll get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
can I just acknowledge the passion in everything you just said?
No.
It was like you were on fire for a few minutes. Well
Yeah.
done.
No, like I am very big on like self-improvement because it's something that's like benefited me so much in my life. Like, and so it's something I try and like not promote within my friends, but I do actively try and help my friends out and everything. And everyone in my life, honestly. Like, I don't know.
You
It
do,
sounds so
Ron.
corny, but like it's just like I am serious.
So
Right.
my question
Hmm.
then is, how do you think that you could promote that within the coaching space that you would provide and make it unique to you?
I think just going back to what we were saying about giving the person that space to feel and be fully themselves without judgment is so important to be able to even think about taking a step, right? So, like meeting people where they're at, being non judgmental. This is how I treat people in my personal life at work as well. But I think that in this space, having like 10 times more the amount of understanding and um, kind of like subconsciously taking note of what they're saying in that space and being like, okay, this person, family's an important value to them, right? Um, Another thing is like they're stressed out with work or like kind of making these mental notes of what they're struggling with, even if they don't realize that they're telling you about it. So that like later on in the line when they are ready to make some changes, you already have in your mind, all right, this person struggles with XYZ and they would maybe benefit from getting support with housing. They would maybe benefit from like setting a boundary with a family member. So like just kind of I don't know, like taking itinerary of who that person is and how their brain works. And that does go back to the psychology route as well. There's a lot of patterns with human behavior and a lot of human intuition. Like you can tell a lot of things about someone even if they're not saying it out loud. You can read their body language. Like commitment is another thing. Like if someone's not showing up, that could be for they're not invested or they're scared. There's, I don't know, like a lot of things that are not explicitly said, I think is important in coaching. I feel like I went a little bit off track there.
Mm.
That's
Um, but yeah,
And how do we do that? How do we actively do that?
we're just paying attention, like to who you're speaking to. And like, I know this is my job, but it is not like a regular job to me. Like I care. And so I think that's a different headspace to be in, like coming to work and being actively in tune with how I'm feeling and how the other person is feeling. It's not like a job where you're just clocking in and dissociating and going home. You do have to like be present. So I think being present is a massive thing.
Thank you.
So
Now we've gone over
Oh, sorry.
our contract. That's fine. No, that's fine. It's brilliant. So shall we say we're gonna have to recontract? Shall we say we'll come back at 11:10?
yeah,
Yeah.
Has everybody got a thumbs up for that?
awesome.
I will see you in 10 minutes.
You guys.
Bye. So where is it you live, Lindy?
In Vanderbijl Park. About 1.5 hour drive from Johannesburg.
Right. What's it like there?
It's quiet. It's a little town and it's quiet.
Right.
Yeah.
Trevine's back.
Yeah.
Treven. I always get it wrong, Treven. It's Treven, isn't
Trevin.
it? Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, it's always a struggle. I've had that struggle growing up.
Well, I'd rather ask people, instead of just guess.
It's important. I think sometimes you get used to it and then you just let people pronounce it how it is. But for those that want to learn, it's pretty cool.
Wait for the other two. So, should we check back in? So, Lindy, would you like to check back in?
I'm checking back in just a little bit all over the place today. Thank you.
Who are you tagging?
Trevine.
Okay. I'm checking back in excited for the second half of it. Yeah, getting into the groove of things.
Who are you tagging, Treven?
I'll tag Aurora.
I'm checking in, feeling good. Yeah, I'm also excited for the second half of things. It's nice to have these types of discussions. I find them very useful. So, yeah, and I'll tag Anthony.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing okay and glad to be here. Looking forward to probably getting in bed after this. And yeah, excited for the second half. Who hasn't been tagged?
Just me.
I'll tag you, Emma.
Well, you've soldiers on, so
I
you
know.
should give yourself a pat on the back. So well done for that. Right. So where do we go from here? Does anybody want to summarize what we've already discussed and maybe go off that? No? Okay. So I was thinking while I was making a coffee, and I'm thinking as coaches, we hear a lot, we go through a lot, and we also have to look after ourselves. So in situations that are really difficult, how do we protect ourselves? Because I think it's just as important for us to bring our authentic selves to the coaching situation. So how would we? I'm gonna pick somebody out the pack. So Anthony, how do you go about protecting your own well-being and your sanity when things get tough?
In my day-to-day life.
Yeah, anything?
So I have dual diagnosis and I have a strict plan of daily action that I agreed with the last treatment center I was at. I was 2 weeks clean and sober last week, so I now abstain from substances and I basically have a support network. I have a therapist she has essentially saved my life on many occasions. It's not like I'm constantly doing active therapy these days. We just talk about what I have got. She's just a support network as such, unless anything big comes up. I have a mental health coach. I see a psychiatrist quarterly. Um, and yeah, I just do what I need to do to keep myself mentally, physically, and spiritually balanced. I check in with myself at the end of the morning and at the end of each night and write them down. So I have a diary to see when things start to maybe shift in where I'm at, and just so I have that awareness. But I mean, that hasn't come easy. I've had over a decade of struggles of, you know, I think it's very easy for things to slip without me noticing, like ups. I was having work done in my house last week, and now I've got like two absolute mountains of washing upstairs. And it's like the things can just become unmanageable. I'm gonna have to drive around the countryside looking for someone to do my washing because there's nowhere to dry at all. My house is tiny. But yeah, I have learned lots of tools, and I went through an intense trauma program in the last treatment center, which I've never had before. And, I've worked through a lot of stuff. Um, and I guess an example of that. So my aunt passed away over Christmas, and family funeral was in Borough. Um, my parents were going to be there. I cut them out of my life last year. This was the first time that I was going to see them. You know, quite anxious. Um, I grew up in South Bank, so the way that conflict has always been dealt with in the family is, violence and aggression and so there was lots of spinning thoughts coming through my mind, but I drove up there, you know, went to see my cousins. It was their mum who passed away the night before. Went to see my sister, who's still in addiction as to some extent. And I went to the funeral, and there was so many people there that I didn't come into contact with my parents. I was able to go to the service, but I didn't go to the pub afterwards. And I went for a walk with some friends around very frozen Hemlington Lake. And without having that self-awareness before, it would have been a very different situation. I've learned so much about myself and how I need to protect myself. And then driving back, I guess there's always been a fear of my parents to some extent, just feeling empowered that, I didn't have to react or come into contact with them. I did what was best for me. And I guess that's what I try to do on a daily basis, is constantly trying to make the next best decision for me and where I want to go with my life in recovery.
Oh, so how does that feel? Like, how does that affect you physically? Because I can see that's a lot going on. How does that affect you physically? Like, where in your body are you feeling that?
So, so I don't feel a lot. I've been diagnosed with is it alexithymia, or where the lack of feelings.
Hmm.
I'm autistic, so that's like a character trait of that. And as hard as it is to say, like, I didn't feel anything at the funeral, which feels like I'm just sat on a coaching session now, and that's one of the things that I've always felt with, and that what I've always struggled with in my life is accepting that I don't feel like normal people, and it's affected romantic relationships, it's affected friendships where I can't show that empathy because I don't understand some in certain ways. It's taken me a long time to accept that. And I guess that's why I use substances, because elevated. You know, I felt something that I don't feel on a day-to-day basis. Made me feel normal.
Define normal.
Well, that's what there is no such thing as normal, but that's what I thought you know, at that time you only know what you know. So it was like, oh, this is what everyone else is doing. Everyone looks like they're having a great time. I'm gonna do this and have a great time as well.
I actually do see emotion.
Mm,
I do see emotion. It might not be like myself or Anthony or Aurora because we're all different,
mm,
but I see emotion.
mm.
And I see the feeling, and emotion comes in many forms.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I have to try and work at, and I guess I have a 9-year-old son who I co-parent, which is essentially why I'm in Somerset, and there's long periods where I just can't connect with him, but I do get those windows. So I do know it's there.
Yeah.
And as my therapist keeps saying, it's like maybe it'll come back, there's been spent 20 years drinking and taking drugs. So there is hope. We live in hope.
Hope and patience.
Yeah, exactly. Keep doing the right things.
So, Trevin, from your background and your point of view, how would you deal with dual diagnosis in a recovery coaching scenario? That might be a broad question.
Yeah. I think from a psychologist perspective, which I guess that's what you're asking, you'd obviously refer on to a maybe a psychiatrist for meds and stuff like that to manage the symptoms of the diagnosis. And then you would create a plan, a therapeutic modality that would suit um, the treatment of that diagnosis, and then you'd work like that going forward. Um, and yeah, you'd create obviously get the med sorted, and then you'd work on a treatment modality tailored to the specific diagnosis.
For the mechanic and the maintenance.
Yeah, mechanic and the maintenance.
Does anybody else want to give any words of wisdom and how you manage your own well-being?
I think for me in particular, while the day is going on and obviously collecting this trauma and obviously you are coaching people and stuff like that. When I get home, what I like to do is I have a little ritual where I'll go sit in a specific area in the yard, I'll smoke a cigarette and listen to a certain song. Then I'll go inside. If I might have a shower, eat a good meal, and then just connect with my family. And that tends to, by doing that ritual outside, I get to leave whatever I've collected at the door. Because the moment you bring it into your home, you end up going to bed with it. And then you never distance yourself from what you're doing. And in order for me to keep myself safe, I need to create that bit of distance. So when I'm in it, but to draw that boundary to say that, okay, I leave it here and now I'm speaking to my mom. It's very important because I think once those lines get blurred, you become overwhelmed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I heard you mention boundaries there. How important are boundaries for our own well-being? And I'll say this as I'm asking because I heard somebody say the other day that to disassociate yourself from situations like what we work in is insensitive. Now, I thought that was very bold. It was from somebody who doesn't work in our organisation or anything, but they saw that as selfish. Now, I don't see that as selfish. I see that as, it's not disassociation. It's more of, like you've just said, basically, Trevor.
Yeah, it's a fail safe, right?
Yeah, I think it's more like a separation.
Yeah, and you need that in order to keep yourself safe.
Yeah.
Because ideally, if you can't keep yourself safe, your ability to go out there and coach and counsel and do what you're doing becomes ineffective. So that boundary to say, okay, this is my time to recharge my batteries, to connect in the ways that I need to connect, to fuel myself, to do my meditation, to do all that, puts me in a space that when I cross over that boundary again, I'm able to work efficiently to help people effectively.
Yeah.
And so if you can find that balance, you can go the distance. But if you hold on to everything continuously, you'd end up bearing the weight of the world. And I think the world is heavy as it is. So to carry it everywhere is it's going to lead you, it's going to lead me anyway to a place where I can't function and I'm in a state of burnout, which helps nobody. Yeah.
The
But
backpack gets heavy, doesn't it?
yeah. But having said that, boundaries are a weird thing because it's easy to put boundaries in place until emotion is involved. And when emotions are involved, boundaries become pliable. It may bend and it may break, and there may be a hole in it. So I think when setting boundaries, you have to be aware of what boundaries actually mean something and which ones you're not going to keep up. Because once you put them up, you can't take them back down. Then the rest don't matter. So my thinking is pick a few that actually that have the benefit and stick to those rather than walking around setting boundaries for everything. Because in the space I often hear set a boundary, set a boundary, set a boundary. And people are setting thousands of boundaries, but they're not keeping to those boundaries. So they just become another word that you use. They hold no validity.
That's like a gym membership.
Yeah. Uh, the bank charges go off, but my belly doesn't go down.
Yeah. How many can relate to that one? But yeah, boundaries. I think it's about coming back to the coaching again. Is setting realistic goals. I mean, how like you said, Trevor, how many people stick to every boundary and don't modify them as you go along because that doesn't quite make you feel good.
Yeah.
Well, I think that goes for most of the population in January, doesn't it? They set
So
unrealistic
quickly.
goals for the year ahead that all fail by the end of January.
Well, mine failed at the end of the first week, so
Yeah,
I think like going back to how we kind of like take care of ourselves while being around like intense things is remembering that like you're not going to be able to do the same thing every single day. Like you're not going to be able to have the emotional bandwidth be like consistent, right? So like if you have like a lot going on in your personal life, you are not going to be able to do as much at work. If you have a lot going on at work, you are not going to do as well in your personal life. You're going to need more time to kind of like recharge your batteries. So I struggle quite a bit with like not being a perfectionist, but I do expect a lot from myself because I know I have it in me, but I then I'm a bit mean to myself when I'm not performing at a level that I like expect myself to, without thinking of all these outside factors, right? So I think like giving yourself grace and like time and understanding is a massive one on taking care of yourself. Because if you are getting to that point where you're teetering on a line and you're constantly feeling like you have to do emergency fixes, like oh I need to do like a breathing technique right now, that means you've let it go way too far without taking a step to kind of have a pause. So I think that like consistently like checking in with yourself and being like, ooh, like I like example, I've been constantly sick, right? For like it's been over a month now. And that is affecting my mental health because I'm tired, I'm drained, I feel sick, right? But I should not be expecting sick Aurora to perform as like perfect as not sick Aurora. But I have to remind myself that it's not something that my brain automatically connects. And yeah, you won't be able to help people if you're like not fully tuned in with yourself as well. And that's another thing that's easier said than done, but I think it's just important to think of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
I
relate to that.
think the guy who taught me my sound healing, he said you should never practice if you're not feeling attuned with yourself.
Yeah.
And it's similar to in treatment where they say the oxygen mask on the aeroplane
Yeah.
needs to go on you first.
Yeah. And I think I struggle with seeing things black and white, right? So if in my head, if I'm not in like a crisis, then I'm okay. But that there's so much gray area with like not being okay, which is okay to not be, even if you wake up and you're just like not really feeling it that day, do what you can, but don't like overexert yourself. Or I don't know, it's weird. It's finding a balance, but that balance is going to look like completely different for everyone.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of them behaviors, like when I was in active addiction, it's like I wanted it all last week and I wanted it all,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that comes in, I have to remind myself constantly that that behavior needs to have some balance and that behavior I need to check myself all the time. And it's sometimes I just take myself off, take the dog for a walk, and that's my time,
Yeah.
you know. So, I mean, some people sit in the bath for hours. I can't do that. I get bored. But yeah.
I like
So
need to play Clash of Clans on my iPad every single day. And I feel like a child, but it's like, you know what? That keeps me going. I love it. Like I literally my friends know I'm like, it's iPad time and then I'm going to bed. Like that's just my routine. But like, you know, it looks different for everyone.
Clash of Clans.
It's
That
so
was
good.
so 2003.
Mhm.
But right, well, we're coming up to that time, I think. Blinders are back, so I can't see. Oh, it's only past. But does everybody want to check out? Should we start the checkout, should I say? So, shall we check out with a feeling, a goal, a realistic goal, maybe? Whether it be personal, whether it be tiny. And should we start with you, Lindy?
I'm checking out informed and not too much all over the place.
Okay. Are you tagging?
Which side should I swipe again? Oh goodness, I can't see anyone.
Swipe
Anthony.
left.
Thank you. I will check out feeling resilient, and I'm going to start doing what Aurora suggested when this cold shifts. I think today is the worst of it. I'm hoping it's going to move tomorrow. And I will tag Aurora.
I'm checking out. I don't know. It's hard to put. God, I've got my emotion wheel. 1 second. I think I need it. Love this thing. I'm checking out feeling inquisitive. Right. I think sometimes I get in my own head and I'm like, I'm talking too much, but I enjoyed today and I want to like thank everyone for like I just enjoy these conversations. So yeah, I'm checking out. I'm feeling good, but like my brain's still spinning. I could probably talk for another 4 hours about what we're talking about. So yeah.
Go for it, because I kind of start the checkout a bit early because I can't see
No,
my
no, no.
time.
I'm tapping out. I'm tapping out. I'll let you guys go.
Uh,
And I'll
Shaveen?
check.
Shaveen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm checking out calm and very informed by this group. A goal that I'm setting for myself would be to wake up earlier and at the same time every day. December, well, I can't do December. I always wake up late. I need to start waking up earlier.
And I'm going to check out with an apology for finishing the group early. And my goal to set is to have a lie in once in a while. My body clock is so set to like 5:30 in the morning because of pilgrimage and everything else. So I'm the opposite to you, Trevor. I'm going to
Trade
learn
places.
to, yeah, I'm going to learn to lie in because I find it really difficult because once my alarm goes off and I know I've got to go on well, I don't have to, but I go on pilgrimage. I feel guilty if I don't go on pilgrimage because I'm up. And then I just can't lie in. I can't sleep after that. So yeah, that's my goal, is to learn how to lie in.
I'll teach you.
You'll teach me. And Anthony, I meant to ask you, sorry, did you get your roof fixed?
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
My roof got a temporary repair.
Temporary.
Yeah. So it's like an old cottage from like the 1800s. So there's asbestos on the roof, so I can't do it myself. So it's got expanding foam in the hole and lots of duct tape over it right now. But the guy who worked on my living room last week, he's my friend from NA, and so he's gonna come and he's away working this week, but he's gonna fix the roof at some point. Yeah. So it's all right. It's not getting any worse, but it's fine.
It'll be fixed for next winter then.
Yeah. Hopefully this rain stops. It's been raining non-stop. I literally drove home from Middlesbrough on Thursday. Soon as I got to like Thirsk, it was like Storm Goretti or whatever it was called for 7.5 hours, just like slush and rain and snow. It was intense. So I'm
Wow.
hoping for some sunshine soon.
Yeah. Oh well, he's hoping because it's cold here as well. So, right, guys. Well, I will bid you farewell, and I'll have a wonderful day. And Aurora, I will see you in a bit.
Good.
Have a
Bye.
good
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.